we're going to sit down today and talk about some exciting news. Caidya and Simbec-Orion have come together. When you started discussing this, what convinced you that these two companies would be a good fit together?
Yeah, it's really interesting thinking back at the earliest days when we started our conversations. It was really clear when we evaluated the company that there was so much complementarity from a geographic perspective. They really augment our European position and really strengthen it. Also, they have additional skills and capabilities that Cadia does not have independently. For example, the ability now to take healthy volunteers into our studies and to start the study earlier on, from early phase all the way through registrational trials. That was really important to us. Also, they have the ability to provide laboratory services. So they have a very, very well-established, highly regarded MHRA-accredited laboratory in Wales that has a full suite of capabilities and also the ability to do investigational drug manufacturing on site. And so we'll be able to provide those services to existing Cadia clients and new clients and be able to also take all of our studies from healthy volunteers all the way through. So geographically, capability-wise, very, very important. Importantly for them, they also were looking for an opportunity to build out their geographic expertise. And so coming together, we really met the strategic objectives that were in place for both companies. But beyond that, when we met them and started understanding how they go to market, how they sell, it was really clear that the emphasis on oncology, rare disorders, and other complicated therapeutic areas was a critical part of their strategy. And having that expertise to satisfy the needs of sponsors and innovators in that space really complemented how Cadia thinks about our market with those therapeutic areas, but also, of course, in cardioinflammatory, cardiometabolic, and a little bit in CNS. So we felt that the combination of focus in terms of therapeutic areas, expertise, was really, really also a key part of how we serve. And then the final thing was the sort of partnership mentality that we saw from them, how they really lock into their clients and the sort of agility and ownership that they bring to clients, I think was also something that we felt was really complementary. And, of course, we spent time walking the sites and getting to know members of their team. It just felt like so much the same kind of client and patient-focused culture that Cadia really brings forward on all elements. It just felt like a really natural coming together. So we're super excited about it and just can't wait to keep working with them and building out the strategy for the combined business.
Well, I've been operating in Simbec-Orion for 30 years because I'm the co-founder, so I know this business very well. And I know also that some of our weaknesses was global coverage because we are very strong in Europe. We worked in the United States a little bit, but in APAC almost not at all. And as we are working more and more with clients where we build long-term partnership, we start working with them in early phase studies, and then we move to phase 2 and phase 3. And of course, to successfully deliver phase 3, you need to cover more territories. So the combination of Caidya and Simbec-Orion makes sense for geographical point of view because Caidya is very strong in the United States and very strong in APAC, in particular in China. And this is an obvious, fit and very complementary services.
So there's the sort of the capabilities and the coverage, and those things all make a lot of sense. But we all know that culture is often the thing that really can be difficult when companies come together. What was it that convinced you that the cultures were aligned?
Yeah, you're right, Roger. It's a very important part. Culture is really the cement of everything that we can assemble, and it's the foundation. We've been actually talking together for about 3 years, so we had time to understand each other and make sure that this cultural fit, which you cannot assess, after just a few hours of discussion, was real, was sincere, and was very strong. Caidya is a very well-known CRO that has a reputation for quality, excellence, and operational delivery and building long-term relationship with their clients. And at the same time is people-orientated. We know as being a CRO, we don't sell any product. We actually sell a value add by putting people together that will create ideas and add value to the services that are given to us. So we knew that Caidya had this culture. Simbec-Orion has exactly the same culture. We've actually done the mapping of our company core values, and we've looked exactly at what Caidya core values are, and Simbec-Orion, they're exactly the same. Even some of the words are similar. So it was a very reassuring at the beginning, and now a very convincing cultural fit. So no doubt that the two companies together will have, a stronger cultural fit and the ability to exacerbate our company core values.
What types of new opportunities do you see now that we've come together that maybe either organization couldn't deliver as effectively on their own?
There's a lot. I mean, we look at the Cadia team as really expert on all levels. But we also have new expertise coming from the Simbec-Orion team. And so at the sort of top level, we have the opportunity to really build kind of the best of both teams and bring real strength together in the new organization. And looking down through the organization, when we see the expertise that Simbec-Orion brings from the perspective of medical strategy, regulatory strength, clinical operations, and obviously some of the data management and biostatistics that support it. Combined, we have a lot of capability in terms of what we do for our clients. So the fun part of it will be to bring that together. We also have very complementary infrastructures. Our tech stacks are nicely aligned. And so we'll be looking at how we do best of both worlds and bring that together. And as I said, the cultures are very well aligned. So I think bringing the organizations together will be, work, but it will be pretty straightforward. We have a broader group that we can go to perhaps take the work that was being done by Simbec-Orion into Asia Pac, into China, and vice versa, into the US, so we can expand that geographic reach and we can bring those broad capabilities that we've talked about from healthy volunteers all the way through registrational trials. So I think the outcomes are going to be very positive for this combined organization. And I'm looking forward to getting going and bringing the best of that to our clients and to the patients we serve.
Simbec-Orion brings, in addition to the therapeutic area focus in oncology and rare orphan, which Caidya already had, the ability to work on very early phase studies. So we have a clinical pharmacology unit in Wales that does first in human, first in healthy volunteers, and first in patient studies for 50 years. So it's a very well-established company that is doing this for a long time. That gives Caidya the ability to offer to their clients these early phase capabilities. For Simbec-Orion, as is just mentioned, the geographical cover is essential to execute larger phase 3 studies, and it gives the complete clinical development cycle to our clients from first in human to registration studies. So there was a gap in the industry. There was no CRO of this size and with this cultural fit that could actually deliver this global solution. So we're one-stop shop now for our biopharmaceutical clients, and I think this is critical. We're very unique in that sense. If you look at where we are now, United States, Europe, China, with our size, with the therapeutic area focus that both companies are bringing together to be best in class.
Can you talk a little bit about the type of presence and expertise we have that
Yes.
really distinguishes us in the marketplace?
It's transformational for both companies. In our tier, we are now the best positioned geographically within our peer group. And what I think is really important as someone who's spent my career in large multinationals, mid-sized and smaller companies, there's a lot to be said about the way Cadia has come together, bringing these three large companies together, first DMed, Clinipace, and now Simbec-Orion, who had these regional origins. We have a fully built regional infrastructure that not only has the capabilities that are specific to each region, regulatory knowledge, medical knowledge, relationships with clients, but we also have the cultural elements because the companies were built in the region to serve those regions. I feel like those cultural roots will really go over well when we're building the business, talking to clients around the world, whether the clients are in China and Europe or the US. They're going to know that they're talking to a company that understands not just what they need in terms of delivering the results of their study, but how to work with them at the pace and the agility and, language and whatever is necessary to get the best interaction and get the best outcomes for the patients. So I feel like that's a really important part of what makes Caidya special.
You mentioned the phase 1 unit in the central lab earlier. Can you maybe expand on that a little bit?
So the phase 1 unit, which is located outside of Cardiff in Wales, has a reputation of being one of the oldest and most highly regarded phase 1 units, I think, in the world. 50 years of providing clinical pharmacology studies. And so it's a 48-bed unit. It's very well built. It's well established. Has a very impressive laboratory facility that has all the technology that one could imagine, but some special things as well. We have a gamma scintigraphy unit that will really be helpful for specific studies. We have a capital investment output from the origins of Simbec-Orion. The instrumentation is all state-of-the-art. And then importantly, the investigational drug manufacturing facility and the pharmacy that they have there will really help us to bring those capabilities to our clients around the world.
The clinical pharmacology unit based in Wales, UK, has from day one built their own central laboratory that could deliver biomarker testings or PK and also routine hematology and biochemistry safety tests. So that's something that is in the Simbec campus. So it's everything is in the same site. It was used initially to do this lab testing for the healthy volunteer study that were actually recruited in the clinical pharmacology unit. And when Simbec and Orion merged, Orion was bringing the patient expertise, and we were using the lab, and we grew and we invested in the lab to actually manage not only early phase studies, but larger phase 2 and phase 3 studies. So this lab capability is really very essential to what we do. To have a central lab, again, it's a very unique feature, and we are very proud of that.
Can you talk a little bit about what becoming part of a larger organization means for your clients, for your partners that you're working with?
Well, first of all, we're a larger organization, but we are larger because we are expanded geographically. So we are not larger in the countries where we were already operating. We're stronger, but we are larger, as I said, because we cover more territory. So I don't think that our clients will see us as a much larger organization. They will see an organization with a lot more capabilities and flexibilities to go to territories where we are not before. We still remain mid-size. We remain very agile. We are not going to lose our ability to make decisions and implement decisions quickly. So we're not that big CRO that's, is doing this type of transaction to grow. No, we're doing this to add more value to what we do and to bring better solutions to our clients.
As you well know, clinical trials now are becoming more and more complex. And so how do you think as one company, we are better positioned to help sponsors as they go through that complex journey?
Yes, as Caidya, we have started working with our clients earlier on when they're coming out of preclinical testing and they're starting to just take the early steps towards the regulatory strategy. We've been trying to bring our capabilities to help guide them because our clients largely are small biotech, sometimes emerging companies in clinical phase, and they need the kind of capability that we have to help them chart that path. So we will be able now to do that globally for our clients. We'll also be able to do some of the preliminary testing in healthy volunteers to get some early signals of toxicology and efficacy of the drug. And we'll be able to take it forward with them all the way through the cycle. Importantly, with the complexity of the studies, having the right regulatory expertise and the right medical expertise to help design the right protocols is really critical. We are focused on biotechs that are really bringing new to the world types of entities to patients. And so frequently those trials require real expertise from our physicians, from our regulators, and from our clinical experts to be able to design the right kind of study and to do so in a way that gets the results in the most efficient and the fastest way so that these companies can continue to be successful. So I think with this combination, we're going to have more of the scale, we're going to have more of the expertise from early stage to late, and particularly with these complicated studies.
Well, complexity implies that people need to be trained and experienced to do these complex studies that you are referring to. We know that both Caidya and Orion have got expertise in complex therapeutic areas, rare and orphan, oncology, hemato-oncology, CNS. The complexity is not in an Excel spreadsheet. It's not in a database. It's here. And if you have, trackers demonstrating that you've done a lot of studies, but there is nobody in the organization who have touched this complexity and resolved the issues that they faced, then you don't have the experience. Bringing this expertise together is not going to add the expertise, is going to enhance our ability to train our teams and train our sites to execute and deliver the studies. And the complexity is actually scientific. And the early phase with our clinical pharmacology unit brings this early scientific input. There is also the regulatory complexities. Discussed earlier about gene therapies and gene editing and drugs with radioligands. These drugs, are complex to manage. We also need to have the ability to organize the transport, the preparation of the drug at site. So it's all about training and understanding how the drug is going to be delivered to the patient. And then there is the operational complexity because, there are a lot of tests that we are asking the investigators to do to their patients. There are a lot of data that needs to be collected. And by bringing these two companies together, we have more capabilities and more people that are able to deliver and manage these complex studies successfully.
Can you talk a little bit about how having that phase one unit as part of the organization, one, not only helps with that scientific medical expertise throughout the organization, but how we can better partner with sponsors who are going from phase one and then will be going into a phase two or later study?
Well, that's the key, Roger, because what both companies are doing is to build long-term relationship. But long-term mean that you have to start somewhere and to continue somewhere else. So starting as early as we possibly can, which is the first in human being first in patients, sometimes largely for oncology studies. And this is something that the clinical pharmacology unit can deliver. And then moving across the rest of the clinical development cycle through phase two, phase three, the two companies together can actually maintain their teams, the same database, the same processes, the same quality, and the same passion from the beginning to the end, which is the registration of the drug.
So as you look ahead, where do you see the combined companies going? What's your vision for them as we come together?
I think we need to keep building long-term partnership with our clients. That is the key. We have to be there very early, talking to them early. We need to use more and more our advisory boards. We are not alone in this journey. Actually, we've assembled a board of key opinion leaders that are expert in oncology, expert in rare and orphan, in CNS, in regulatory, in clinical pharmacology. And we want to enhance these groups to support our growth and to support our journey to serve our clients better. They are acting our ambassadors, and we want these ambassadors to also feel part of this because they are critical to our joint success.
With the two companies coming together, how do you think that distinctly positions us compared to sort of the big box CROs?
We've all been in companies of various sizes and scales, and we know what that feels like. It's hard to have a very large organization that has much more defined infrastructure and much less adaptability and flexibility to do the kind of work that we do for our clients in the way we do it. So it's really both. It's the product that we create, but it's how we execute that. Because at the end of the day, we're not putting something in a box and selling it. It's about people working with people. It's about people who bring capability and skill in a way that translates. And so this combination that we have right now with the culture and the capability worldwide presents a really compelling story to the clients that are out there looking for that kind of partner. And so I really do believe this is unique. I can tell you since we've announced, I've had a landslide of emails coming back from our current clients. I know that Simbec has had that as well. People want to know, people want to talk to us. Where they had a desire for something that maybe wasn't available on either side of this equation, they want to talk to us. And so I'm looking forward to those conversations and hopefully getting to very positive outcomes for our clients.
What are some of the things that you want to leave with clients?
Yeah, they're going to have a fully built end-to-end global CRO that can do everything that they need worldwide, while at the same time maintaining that culture of agility and that partnership that they need, and that we can work with them as part of their team, as an extension of their team to help them get their product from early stage healthy volunteers all the way through registrational trials. And so I think it's a real advantage. It really is unique. So the ability to have all of the capability, depth, breadth worldwide, plus the agile culture that's really necessary, I think that's really special.
Continuity is the obvious. We are running studies, they are complex, they are critical to our biopharmaceutical clients. Nothing will happen that will change the way we work. What is going to change is that we want to bring from day one the opportunities that this combined entity proposes: more countries, more expertise, access to more patients in geographies where we were unable to go before or unable to go on our own. So if you have to go to China, but you need to work with a partner, or you need to recruit freelance CRAs, you present a picture that looks okay, but actually you don't have the local expertise. You just have capabilities. You just have resource. And I would like our clients, and I'm sure it's the same for both sides of the organization, to immediately benefit from this combination, because there's a huge potential. And I know from talking to clients recently that they were asking us, what can you do in China? We are planning our phase 2B or phase 3 study, and China is such a dynamic country, and it's a huge territory, and there's so many sites that are delivering excellence. Now I can go back to these clients and say, hey, we've done it. Let's talk about moving to China. Let's talk about expanding your study in the United States. We now can do it very smoothly and efficiently. I want to thank the teams, both for Simbec-Orion and Caidya, and to thank our clients, because again, they are giving us the opportunity to combine these two entities by showing us what they want. We know what they need. We know what they want so clearly that for us, this combination is just obvious. It's natural. It's necessary.